Welcome to the Raising Confident Girls podcast, your guide to raising strong, confident daughters. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and a teacher for over 20 years. In a world where girls often feel overwhelmed, anxious, and confused, this podcast is your go-to space. As caregivers, we navigate challenges together. I founded Girls Positivity Club to provide a place where you belong and get the tools to face today's hurdles. Consider this your regular check-in with a trusted friend, offering insights and practical tips for meaningful conversations. I'm here to help you feel confident on this journey of raising a generation of empowered girls. Let's dive in and raise those confident girls together. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Raising Confident Girls. I am so happy you're here today because we have an extra special guest, and I'm going to introduce her as Emily Grace, that is her name, and she is a high school student. She's actually starting her freshman year of high school, which is so exciting, and she loves being creative. She crochets, she does lots of art, she loves to play instruments, she plays the keyboard, she's a tennis player, she has so many things. She loves Pilates, and she's just an all-around amazing girl. And I have had the privilege of knowing her for the last few years because we work together one-on-one, and we have known each other for a few years. And she's also an honor roll student, and just a hard worker and kind and smart and all the things. So welcome, Emily Grace. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah.
So what she is going to be talking about today is a topic that is really probably top of mind if you have a daughter who is getting ready to start middle school, because Emily Grace has gone all the way through middle school and she is now, like I said, starting high school. So she has a lot of wisdom to share with you as a very recent middle school student who's gone through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And so she's here today to share what she wished she would have known starting middle school. So this would, and like going throughout middle school, right?
Yeah.
So she is going to share her wisdom with you. And so before we officially start, I want to remind you that sharing this, I normally say with parents, yes, this would be really helpful for parents or caregivers of girls, but this episode could even be a really powerful one for you to share with your daughter or the girls in your life, who it could help, especially if they're getting ready to start middle school. So let's go ahead and get started. So what would you say, we've talked about friends and we've talked about how parents can check in with their middle school daughters or the girls in their life. What would you say is different about the classes, the schedule, the grades, the tests, the workload? Because I know would you say that was a pretty big shift from elementary school to middle school?
Yeah. It was definitely a big switch because in elementary school you're always just kinda they're always very easy on grades, and it's always just it's not really pushed in your face as much.
Mm-hmm.
And then middle school it's okay, now here are your report cards, you're gonna see it 24/7. It's always gonna be in your face. And I personally I got the urge to actually work on my grades because it was actually in front of me. But I definitely took that a little too far because I was stressing if I got one thing wrong, I was all of this is ruined. I didn't feel smart if I got one thing wrong, and I just feel like a failure. And I just need to realize that I tried my hardest, and one little thing that was just probably a little silly mistake that was definitely because I was overthinking it the whole time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm not smart, and it doesn't mean I didn't understand it. It just meant that I got one thing wrong, and that means I know now, and I understand the question that I got wrong, and it's I gotta be okay with the grades I get as long as I try, because I can't keep pushing myself to impossible perfect limits, because
Yep.
that's just not what we are as humans. We're gonna make mistakes, we're gonna make calculation errors, we're gonna once in a while make a grammar mistake, and there's just no controlling that, and you can only try so hard.
Yeah. And what do you think? So, how long did you think that took you to realize that? Was it a couple of years? Was it like, what was it that helped you realize that it was okay?
It was probably to the point because like I would like the night before tests or like quizzes or just like turning an assignment, I'd be like anxious all night, being like, "What if something
Mm.
was wrong?" Or like maybe it's like the day before they give out grades, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I probably did all this wrong."
Yeah.
And then if I get like, getting the grade, it was just so much pressure. It was just like a horrible cycle, and it's just
Hmm.
I didn't think it was like a healthy behavior to just always be like striving for like ultimate perfection, like 101%,
Hmm.
because it just wasn't gonna make me happy in the end, and it wasn't like sustainable. And
Yep.
as like I think the only way I could have been happy and what I will try for in like high school is to just try my best, and even if that's not like 100 or like an A or like an A plus plus plus, it's like that's fine. And
Yeah.
I just need to be happy with like my ability to do it, and there's always room for improvement, and
Mhm.
I will strive for that, but that doesn't mean I always have to like be stressing over every single detail I turn in for schoolwork.
Yeah. And I would say that was a really big shift for you because would you say that you are a high achieving student?
Yeah, it
And
was
like,
basically all or nothing for me. I just thought if I didn't
hmm,
get 100%, I might as well have failed, and it was like a really negative, and it was very just like it was very like it took a really big toll on mental health and my
hmm,
well-being like most of the days, because like my whole mood would like be around if I got like 101% on my tests.
hmm,
And it was just like such a vicious cycle, and it was just even my mom was like, you got like an A, why are you like getting so stressed about missing like two questions,
right.
like, and it was like a silly mistake at that. And it's like I just needed to like, as long as I know how to do it, and I could always just like practice more. That's like
Hmm.
that's all I need to be like. I need to be proud of myself that I was able to learn that skill, and I was able to like
Yeah.
put out my work, and I tried my best, and that's all I could do in that moment.
Yeah, which is a huge shift. And I think, you and I have talked about for a long time self-talk and how important that is. And what would you say could help someone who, let's say they get into middle school and they're kind of in shock by the level of pressure of grades and classes and keeping track of assignments and all of that? What would you say would be some good habits to get into to kind of shift that thinking if they do feel like you, where they're like a good student and worried about making a mistake or getting a bad grade? Um, what would you say would be some good habits for them to do?
Um, Definitely just like I think a good thing would just be maybe like having a sticky note in your like locker, or maybe like on like one of your binders or something, and just being like try like as
Hmm.
like you can, and then like and that is all you could do, and that is good enough. And
Yeah.
I think like having little notes just anywhere, like even like just like or like you got this on top of papers, that's like maybe like it really helps lower stress on tests,
Yes.
even though it's such like a simple thing to like do. And
Hmm.
just like believing in yourself and being like, I'm gonna try, and I'm confident in my abilities, and that outcome's gonna be whatever it is, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
be okay.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is really different ways of encouraging yourself. And almost like what I've noticed about you and knowing you all through middle school is that you've gotten a lot more comfortable with doing that, not only writing yourself notes, but also the way that you talk to yourself, like your little voice inside your head. And I think that sometimes people can underestimate, like parents and even kids, like even girls who are going into middle school and think, oh, well, that won't matter. But really, what you tell yourself does, wouldn't you say? Like, it makes a huge impact whether you're like you were saying, spiraling about those two questions that you missed. Or let's say, for example, because there are probably some girls listening or parents of girls who maybe school is hard for them and they don't always get A's or 100%. And it's like, I always told my students, a test is what you knew on that day. And it's okay if you didn't know everything because that tells the teacher like what you need help on, and it also tells you what you still need to learn. So it's kind of like retraining your brain, wouldn't you say, of even whether it's you think it's a failure to miss two questions, or if let's say you do feel something, it's like, what would you say to the person who maybe school is hard for, who might be kind of down on themselves? Is it write yourself notes? Is it notice when you're saying it and then replace it with a positive thought? What would be your advice to them?
Um, it's definitely like what you say in like your back of your head, because you could be like, oh, I failed this, so that means like my whole life's gonna be like a failure. I'm never gonna do anything good with myself. And that's just like, even if it's just like slightly in the back of your head, you don't really think much about it because you're like, oh, it's just like there. I'm not even like thinking about it. But
Mm-hmm.
like that's like the thing. If it's in the back of your head, it's always there, and eventually you start to believe it because you hear it so much. But like
Yeah.
an easy like switch just to be like by like saying positive things, like even
Hmm.
though it's kind of feels like, oh, this is kind of like dumb. I don't really want to like say like just like this stuff. I barely believe it myself, but like if you keep saying it, you eventually believe it, and it
Yes.
helps like with your confidence, and then you get like strength. Just keep going, and like I think that's really important.
Yeah, and what I hear you saying too is like making it a habit. It's noticing and making
Yeah.
it a habit, noticing and making it a habit. Like almost, I like to say like flipping it. It's like you notice because everybody has this. All of us, whether any age, it's just something that is always going to be there. Is like that little voice of it's really your brain protecting yourself from harm. But we know that it's not real harm. It's just trying to keep you safe, and you have to just almost realize that, and like you were saying, make it a habit that you talk to yourself like you would a best friend. Did it ever help you to think like, what would I tell someone else if they were feeling down or something?
Yeah, because you would never say like the negative things you say to yourself because you're such like you pick like apart yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like you just see all the bad. You don't see any good. But like when you look at your friend, you don't think like, oh, she's a failure because she got
Yeah.
like something wrong, or she didn't do like really good on a test. You don't
Yeah.
think that when you look at your best friend. You're like, wow, that's my best friend, and she's capable, and she's a fighter, and she's trying to do stuff, and she's like, she always gets through it, and it's just it's just so crazy the like how like it switches, how like you treat
Mm-hmm.
yourself and others. You should like,
Yeah.
it's like crazy. Like you wouldn't want to treat your best friend that way. You'd feel like the biggest like jerk on the planet, and that's, you don't
Yeah.
realize you just do that to yourself, and you want to be a good best friend for yourself too.
I love that. And I think asking yourself, like, am I being my own best friend? As cheesy as that sounds, cringy, whatever, however people want to say it, like, it is true. You have to say to yourself, even adults, we have to say, like, am I being kind to myself? And if you're not, then be kind to yourself, just like you would a friend. Like you said, that's a great advice. Any final words of advice to the girls who are listening about whether they're starting sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade? Is there anything else that you would want them to remember no matter where they are in their middle school journey?
Probably just know that I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna get through this. I'm me, and I'm just gonna do what I can to get through this because middle school is tough. It's like it's
Hmm.
tough on everybody, even if some people don't want to admit it. It's like there's
Yeah.
so much with like the social stuff, and then like school, like just like grades, and it's like you just gotta like realize that like this is hard, but I'm strong, and I'm gonna grow from this, and there's gonna be change, but I get through it.
Hmm. I think that's great advice. And I really appreciate you taking the time because it's good too, because you're on the other side of it. And sometimes when you're in it, it's a little bit harder to see that, but you're living proof that you can get through anything and that look at how you know how to do all these things now. And don't you think it's going to set you up in a really good way for high school?
Yeah, I think I'm really gonna try to apply this to like what I do in high school because I
Mhm.
think if I just like definitely like I've learned stuff and like the more I learn, the more I can improve my like school like lifestyle and like how I like feel about myself and definitely like improve my mental state with like school and just like I've learned so much from middle school.
Good. And that's a great way to look at it. Like some people look at it as like the dark years of their school, but like you said, if you look at it like a learning and like, you know what, I made it through that. I'm proud of myself for making it through and look at all the ways that I've grown and all the lessons that I now have to take with me. I love that.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're planting seeds along the way that are going to help you later. And if someone is struggling right now, what would you say to them if they're a girl who they're just really scared? What would you say to them?
Just know that like we've all been there. We all been like probably like one of like a really dark time in our life and we've all been there like we don't even know how we're gonna like get past it.
Mm-hmm.
But even though it's like really dark, there's like always a way out, whether it's like there's like you just gotta keep going and you just gotta be like gentle with yourself and like not
Mm-hmm.
like beat yourself up,
Yep.
whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
just just know that you're gonna get through it and that you're strong and you'll grow from it and you look back and be like, I did that. I'm stronger. I'm brave and I was able to do that and I'm powerful and I could do anything else even if it's harder than that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you're going to do amazing in high school. I just know it. And I love that we get to keep talking and keep, you know, going through the journey. And I'm sure you'll have lots of good advice for the girls as you are really going through high school. It's going to be cool where you can share how it's going and different lessons that you're learning along the way. So I can't wait to have you back once you start high school and see how it's going.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for listening. The best compliment you can ever give is to share this with a parent or caregiver of a girl that it could help, because that's the intention of this podcast, is to help as many families as possible. And this one is extra special because this will be a good one. Like Emily Grace said, all this good advice, all of her wisdom could really help your daughter. And a lot of times it's much better hearing it from someone who's been there and they're not an adult yet. Like they're still in those years that are really close to your daughter. So please send this to her because I think it could really help her, whether she's just starting middle school, if she's in the middle, or if she's in her last year of it. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for joining another empowering episode of the Raising Confident Girls podcast. Share today's insights with caregivers and friends, building beautiful relationships with strong girls. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. Follow Girls Positivity Club on social media for more empowering content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This podcast empowers you, supporting incredible girls. Let's create strong, beautiful relationships with the girls in our lives. I appreciate you listening today. Stay confident, stay connected. Until next time, keep raising those confident girls. You've got this.